And let's look at this issue here now, as you rightly mentioned, the issue of the finance minister talking about debt ratio. And for some time, we have been raising alarms, and now there's still fresh fears now looming in the air of the fact that Nigeria's debt service ratio is rising on a regular. And now, of course, when the president presented the 2021 budget estimate of 13.08 trillion naira to the joint session of the National Assembly in October, one of the immediate reactions that greeted it was the amount budgeted for debt servicing, that is a whooping 3.124 trillion naira. Now, the amount budgeted for the all-important capital expenditure was just a little higher at 3.85 trillion naira. For debt servicing is 3.124 trillion naira, while the amount we're going to spend in the country, that's the capital expenditure, was put at 3.85 trillion naira. Now, this day became clear when the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed at the National Assembly during her ministry's budget defense that the country's debt profile would rise to 38.68 trillion naira by December 2021. Now, she said, and I quote, "The total public debt stock comprising the external and home debts of the federal and state government and the Federal Capital Territory stood at 31.01 trillion naira as of June 30th, 2020. It is projected, based on existing approval, to rise to 32.51 trillion naira by December 31, 2020. And of course, the comment implies that Nigeria would borrow 3.17 trillion naira in 2021. And unfortunately, we have a gold medal here, and not a very good report, as a report in 2019 indicated that Nigeria was the highest debtor nation to Nigeria. To China, rather. It's a really worrisome situation, and lots of economic experts are raising fears on this debt profile. Let's start with you, Dr. Dio.
Yeah, you see, because of some of our viewers that always get bored with figures, terminology, and all that, I wouldn't go to that. But rather, I will look at whether it's good to borrow or not. The money you borrow, what are you supposed to use it for? And then what are we using it for? Then what can we do for us to reduce the way we borrow?
Okay.
All right? For me, there is no economy can develop without borrowing.
Correct.
I have an example of Brazil. Anybody can go and Google Brazil. There was a time that Brazil was the most indebted nation in the old world. But what did they use it for? The Brazil is there today. We can also go and Google Brazil of today. Compare it to Brazil of 15 years ago. All right? So, to me, there is nothing wrong in borrowing. But what are you supposed to use that borrowing for? Is it for you to consume or to produce? When you are borrowing to consume, there is no how you will be able to pay appropriately. That burden will be increasing. Because the moment you are not able to pay the money, and then you are not able to pay the interest, it will be compounding. It will be compounding. And over a period of time, it will choke you up. So here, what are we using the money we borrow to do? Is it to eat with our two hands, or to develop our infrastructure? What are these infrastructures? We have been talking of our refineries. We have been talking of lights. We have been talking of roads. We have been talking of hospitals. We have been talking of social amenities. You see, I read somebody's research. That research was made, it was carried out in Canada, I think about 25 years ago or so. It was now looking at some states in America. I think Utah was among those states or so. Now, looking at, is it better for you to spend money on people to be educated and then to have enough job to do, or for you to leave them on the streets, all right? And then, fending for themselves? It was not looking at the implications. the result came out that, look, when you spend on people's education, well-being, and all that, that means you will spend on health. Because people will know how to eat well,
yeah.
People will know how to exercise, people will know what to do at any point in time for them not to fall sick. So that means it will reduce drastically the money you are spending on health. It will reduce drastically the money you are spending to curb crime. Because people will have enough job to do. All right? People will be occupied. People will be educated. People will be able to be creative. But what are we doing here? Instead of us to use that money to attack issues that will lead us to problems, we are allowing those issues to lay there, developing into problems, and then using the money borrowed to solve problems. I don't know whether you understand. Now, what can we do to reduce our borrowing? Number one, which is most paramount, is to develop the resources that have been given to us by nature. And what are these resources? We have mining, gold, everywhere. We have our petrol. Instead of us to develop even modular refineries, I've been saying it. I did that research myself over 2-3 years ago. To build a modular refinery will cost us nothing from all the money we have been spending on subsidy and all that. Put all this money together. In the last 2 years, there is no state in Nigeria that will not be having at least one modular refinery. And if we have modular refinery in this country, you know the implication. Number one, you will be cracking. You'll be cracking your crude oil here. Yeah. And when you crack your crude oil here, you will refine your petrol, you will refine your kerosene, you will refine your diesel. That is about 3. Remaining other 10 residuals, they are still there. Nobody has ever been talking about it. Where are these our leaders be taking them to? And these are residuals that can be used to develop, to kickstart our petrochemical industry. And when we have our petrochemical industry, do you know the quantum of employment it will give? If you have those quantum of employment, do you know the kind of multiplier effect it will have on the society, on the economy, on religion, on everything? You wouldn't be having the youth the way you had them, out during the NSRC because they'll be occupied. Yeah. Because when they are not occupied, definitely they want to do something. They have energy. They want to exercise their energy. So in order to burn that energy, you see them. Do you understand? Yeah. Those are issues. All the money now they want to use in repairing diseases and all that, they wouldn't have been using that. That money will have been used to do something else again. Now, let's leave that. Let us come to educational infrastructure. If we have been developing our educational infrastructure, you will have been seeing series of researches being dug out by people. Look at some of these Christmas toys that we always, very soon now, the old streets, the old roads will be filled up with all those people selling. Who are those people making those things? Small children in China. Primary school children, secondary school, not more than GS3. Not more than GS3 that are doing all those things. And you come in. That's
what we are using here in Nigeria.
That's what we are now using here in Nigeria. You say, Baba has bought a helicopter for me. No, do you understand? Assuming we are doing all these things here, there wouldn't be what we call capital flight. Because when you have that capital flight, you won't have enough money here to invest. So all you now need to do is the money that had flown there, you now go back there and borrow it. So as not to waste our time, let me give you the last one. That is very funny.
Yeah.
If somebody will steal, as government official, will steal about 5 billion, and then take this same 5 billion to America, to Japan, to Switzerland, or wherever. Is it useful for Nigerians or useful
for that other country then?
Those other countries are the ones using that money. All right? And because that money is not here, there's no way we can use it to develop ourselves. So all we need to do is we go back there and borrow our own money
again
for by ourselves, and then they pay interest on our money. I mean, I think viewers have seen that all these things have been broken down. I just decided to break them down without using unnecessary terminologies that will be boring our viewers at home. So if only we can hold our leaders, not only political leaders now, even religious leaders, traditional leaders, economic leaders, all of them, if only we can hold them responsible. Stop saving your money abroad. Stop keeping your money. Let the money be here, so that people like you, people like me, people like graduates that are coming, or people that want to do fish farming, people that want to do this, they can easily go to the bank and borrow. Then bank also will now be able to live up to their responsibility of taking proposals from people and then look at it and advise, because that's what happens in America. Well, as a graduate, if you want to be on your own, all you need to do is come up with a good proposal, take it to a bank. The bank will send it to the appropriate desk. They look at it, they advise you, they put one or two things into it, they remove one or two things into it, and then you both sit down to correlate the whole corrections, and then they say, okay, start with this. By the time you are growing, they will advise you again, okay, go on with this. By the time you go on with this, and then our bank will not, but when banks are not having enough money here, everything have been taken abroad, and they have been using the bank to even do the capital flight and all that. They strongly believe in doing capital flight because that's what will give them more money than when you go there to borrow money and say you want to start this. So if all these things can be put together in a proper perspective, let our government sit down because of what has happened now, so that it wouldn't happen again. Let them become more serious.
All right.
Let them make statements that has energy. Let them make statements that has power. Let them make statements that people will see that yes, they are responsible to the people they are governing.
All right, while still developing the country, we know, let's go back here in Lagos, because we're talking about how to help the country and of course for the growth and development of